credit here. This comes from the Daily Iowan and their projected offensive line starters for this season. They're going Cody Ince, left guard, who they consider to be the most versatile offensive lineman.
I would agree with that. At least so far, Connor Colby could end up being that guy, but Cody Ince has, again, ran both at guard and tackle.
They believe that Michael Myslinski will be the center.
That seems to be the hot narrative. I don't know what people are basing that off of, because I believe Fagan was primarily the backup this past year, but Myslinski's on scholarship. Fagan was not. So that makes sense. You hope that he can progress. You're giving him a scholarship to play that position.
As you mentioned, Justin Britt started the first 3 games of the season when Schott was down, and then he was in the regular rotation. They've got him starting at right guard, and then Connor Colby at right tackle, who started the final 11 games.
And who did you say left tackle, Mark?
Connor Colby at right tackle. Wait a minute. Who do I have at left tackle? That must be
Richmond.
Shoot, I didn't finish my list. Although they mentioned that David Cobb, they consider him to be the most intriguing prospect.
Yeah. Well, we're kind of in agreement on that. Richmond will probably end up being that guy at left. But again, where does that leave Jack Plum? That's an interesting. Jack Plum's a guy he's got to. It's now or never for Jack Plum. He's had moments. I thought he played decently well in 2020 when he filled in for Coy Cronk when he went down with an injury. And Mark Kallenberger also was there helping. But yeah, I mean, it's now or never for guys like Plum and Ince. Ince has been better. Again, he struggled with some injuries. Jennings Dunker is another guy on the roster. Trying to think of other possibilities. I mean, you've got like Tyler Ellsbury. I don't know if he's a big kid. I think he's close to 300. They've got pieces. I've said this all along, Mark. That's why, and I understand why people got frustrated that I was always on going to get a quarterback. But let me just rehash why I was so high on that. It wasn't because I was in denial about Iowa's struggles up front. It was simply from a personnel standpoint. Thank you, Jermaine. From a personnel standpoint.
I just can't believe I blanked on that, because Scott Fujita, I must have watched the guy play 100 games, and he was rating offensive linemen. So I thought, yeah, Scott Fujita offensive. Then I thought, no, he's a linebacker. I'm sorry, Corey, keep going.
No, it's okay.
I'm going to interrupt you again just because of the picture setting in the article. I missed the left tackle position, but they're projecting Mason Richmond to be the left tackle.
Yeah, I mean, that would be great news, because that means you'd like your older guys to play like their age, right? I mean, you want Jack Plum to figure it out, but I mean, I just wonder, and I don't know what the market is. Again, we're talking transfer portal. If Plum ends up getting beat out this spring, and like Connor Colby's the right tackle, and you've got Mason Richmond the left tackle, Nick DeYoung's got to be somewhere. I mean, he's a young guy. I mean, my guess is he'd be a backup at probably right tackle. Would Plum just settle for being the backup at left? I don't know. Perhaps he hits the port. Perhaps they lose somebody in the portal after this spring. That will be a storyline to follow, because Iowa no doubt that Iowa will lose somebody at tackle or at the offensive line, somewhere along the offensive line after spring, because there's going to be a lot of battles to be had. And obviously you want to find if you're an offensive lineman, regardless of your classification, you want to find a home before summer, when, again, the strength and training program might be the most important for those guys in the summer. So it will be intriguing to watch. And I wanted to bring up something else, and now I'm pulling a Mark Rogers, and I'm blanking. Yeah, Bo Stevens. You mentioned Bo. He's a guy. Personnel, that's what we were talking about. My big thing on the offensive line is I think they've got good personnel. They recruited very well there in 2021. Very well at offensive line. It's just a matter of developing these kids. George Barnett has not yet proven that here. But you've got Kirk Ferentz, who is your head coach, who's a position coach. I mean, I would think that they can develop these players. If there's one position that you would expect Iowa to be good at developing, it would be the offensive line. You brought that up at the outset of the show. So personnel wise, I think they're okay. I do question personnel wise whether they're okay at quarterback. And that's why I've been so big on the portal being utilized at that position. It would be nice. It would have been nice if Iowa could have, went out and gotten the kid from Cornell who ended up committing to Penn State, Hunter Norzad. But they didn't. And, they'll probably look at things this spring. And if they feel good about where they're at both tackle positions and certainly on the inside, then they probably will ride with that. But if there's somebody that pops up between now and the summertime in the portal, I would not be surprised. They've shown that they're willing to go to the portal at that position, and they just missed. Hopefully there'll be somebody. There will be guys that enter the portal, but somebody that's attractive to Iowa.